시작해도 됩니다. 구인철 차관님께서 그 해외 시장 개척의 중요성에 대해서 언급해 주셨고, 그리고 교육과 R&D 혁신, 그리고 시장 정보 제공의 중요성을 말씀해 주셨습니다. 그런데 원위치데이 키 플랫폼에서 이 세션의 그 제목을 토크쇼로 붙임되는 나름의 이유가 있을까라고 생각을 해봤는데요. 그게 아무래도 이게 그 특강에 대한 커멘터리 이상의 부가가치를 서로 이게 제공을 해달라는 취지로 이해를 해봤습니다. 이 세션의 주제가 새로운 시장과 뉴 세그멘테이션인데요. 일단 먼저 말씀을 드리자면 한국 경제가 그동안 겪어온 걸어온 길을 보면 미국, 중국, EU와 같은 거대 시장에 대한 의존도가 높았고, 그리고 분야로 따져봐도 상품 수출, 그리고 서비스 분야에서는 건설 플랜트, 최근에 들어서야 RCP 정도에만 집중되어 있는 상황입니다. 지금 이러한 거를 좀 벗어나기 위해서 문재인 정부에서는 지금 신남방 정책과 신북방 정책을 하고 있는데요. 이게 지금 키 플랫폼에서 추구하고 있는 새로운 시장을 찾고자 하는 노력과 같은 방향이라고 생각을 합니다. 우선 여기 토론자로 올라와 주신 분 중에서 세레틀리 회장님께서 하시고 싶은 말씀이 있으실 것 같은데요. 먼저 조지아에 대한 매력이라든지 다른 시장, 좋은 시장이 있으면 저희에게 소개해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, organizers, and my good friend Anthony Kim for facilitating my participation in this conference. I'll start with saying that one may ask questions. What Georgia has to do in the game of big boys like the United States and Japan and China and European Union and Korea and other big economies of the world. But when I give you my very short pitch about Georgia and Georgia's capabilities, maybe you think and maybe justify why we are here and why we talk about Georgia. It's a small country, it's less than 4 million people, but very strategically located on the Black Sea shores between Black and Caspian Seas, and it has access to many interesting and strategic markets. Actually, a very interesting fact is that Georgia has a free trade agreement with a total population of countries of 2.3 billion people. It includes China, European Union, former Soviet Union space, Turkey, and soon to be India. I would like to see definitely Korea in this list going forward, and there are discussions with the United States to advance a special trade relationship between the United States and Georgia. Talking about platform, Georgia provides a very interesting platform for Korean companies to operate in the country, to invest there and operate in the country, then use access to that many potential markets for products produced or maybe value-added products that could Georgia then export to other countries. Korean companies could export to other countries using Georgia as a platform, as a place. So several interesting probably details. It's a rare opportunity probably for some of you to learn a little bit about Georgia as a country. It's an ancient country, ancient history. A lot of similarities with Korea, with several big neighbors, several big invaders in Georgian history, but Georgia always managed to survive and maintain to this day its identity and sovereignty. and Georgians are very proud of this. Looking at the Korean-Georgian relationships, and we have very capable Georgian ambassador here. If you will have any questions later on, Mr. Berzenishvili is here, and you can continue relationship with him because he will stay here and continue this effort of bringing Georgia and Korea together. But there are significant presence of Korean companies already in Georgia, let alone these big players like Samsung and Hyundai and others. There are hundreds of small Korean investors who are registering companies in Georgia. And I think it's a sign of very good progress in bilateral relationships. I would like to say that in terms of strategic partnership, Georgia is a reliable partner, not only in economic and business activities, but also when it comes to military. Some of you may know, but a lot of you probably don't know that Georgian soldiers are fighting in international military missions all over the world, shoulder to shoulder with US troops and other international forces in Afghanistan, before that in Iraq and other places. So while small and with a limited maybe economic power at this point, but Georgia has a commitment to ideals and values that Korean companies and Korean state shares, and this gives us hope and also a great opportunity to bring these two countries together and these two potential economic powers together, large and small. It's always good intellectually to think about what large and small countries can do together. And I think a partnership of Georgia with its neighbor Turkey, partnership of Georgia with the European Union, partnership of Georgia with a great strategic partner, United States, proves that small partner, but valuable partner, like Georgia could be a good friend and investment destination for Korean companies as well. Logistics, transportation, financial sector, and different type of resource development clearly is major sectors that could give interest for Korean companies. I know the time is limited, so I will stop here and let others to give their thoughts about their ideas.
제가 회장님을 만나뵙기 전까지는 조지아에 대해서 아는 거는 그 조지아 와인, 그 훌륭한 맛있는 와인에 대해서만 알고 있었는데요. 그 조지아의
Actually, I should have mentioned that Georgia has 8,000 years of winemaking history, so that's given.
그 밖에 조지아가 가지고 있는 그 지리적이나 그 국제관계에서 가지고 있는 시장의 그 안정성과 잠재력에 대해서 말씀해 주셨습니다. 다음으로는 그 베란돈드 씨와 씨부터 그 한국경제가 한국이 유망한 파트너로 할 수 있는 그 성장 잠재력이나 지속 가능성 측면에서 유망한 국가라든지, 그리고 그 앞서 언급해드렸지만 상품과 건설 플랜트 이외에 유망한 분야가 어떤 게 있을지 한번 말씀해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. Good morning, everyone. That is just only Korean word I can say. My name is Olan Yanon. I come with two heads together. The first one, I'm the president of Thai FinTech Association, and the second one, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Durek Corporation, one of the biggest startup ecosystem in Thailand. As a question, what is the segmentation and the key interaction between Thai and Korean together? For me, the first thing I have to say that the Thailand corporation really love Korean country. The K series, Korean series, is penetrate our market more than 90%. But for the thing that maybe I think the new segment in the emerging country as a Thailand, you know that the Thailand is creative, is a location based. But the future of Thailand, I think the three segmentation that if you would like to do business beyond country from Korea and Thailand, you should focus on the three segments. The first one, you should focus in the travel technology because let's play with me. How many of you been in Thailand before? You see that about half of the room been in Thailand before. Why you come to Thailand? Why you come to Thailand? Yeah, you come to Thailand because location, the beautiful view, the cheaper, low cost, and anything else. And you have a lot of opportunities because of Thailand and Korea have the long relation between to do the business together. But right now, what is the key segmentation that you could have operating more? The first one, for the population side, Thailand and Korea is similar. We have about 70 million population altogether. But for the travel technology, in the travel side, we have a lot of more than 30 million travelers come to Thailand every year and increase to digit every year also. So if you have this ability to go together, I think we have learned a lot because as we know that just about the 10 to 20% of the Thailand that I mean the foreigner, both in Korean and European country, US resident, know about the beautiful city in Thailand. But if you could expand on and use technology as a platform, you can go invest there. The second one, as the population side, population demographic of Thailand. Right now we are the aging society, So I see for the health tech, I mean the health technology is and bioscience is the next one that may be Korean because Korean is one of the leader of the world for the health tech and aging technology also. But Thailand we just start in this business. If you can find the collaboration networking to transfer knowledge to Thailand and be business together about science, technology, and health. I think that is the second one that you can penetrate collaboration to Thailand. And the third one, or the last one, because we have that privilege. I think the agriculture, you know that 60% of the Thailand, I mean that our population in Thailand, 60% of our population is farmers or work in agriculture, but they work as a local, I mean the classical way. They don't bring technology to use in the agriculture business, yes. But in your country, I saw a lot. You have the high architect or we call agtech. This one, the government of Thailand very focused in agriculture tech, and it will go very fast within a few years. So if you could like aware of agriculture tech in this year or maybe a few years later on, I think you have a big opportunity to work together between Korea and Thailand. That is just only view of my view, and maybe we can have more perspective in the other round. Yeah.
말씀하셨습니다. 그 베라노프께서 그 태국 시장의 장점과 유망한 그 협력 분야에서 그 헬스케어 바이오라든지 농업 분야를 말씀해 주셨습니다. 사실 제가 모더레이터 역할이 처음에 주로 토론자로만 참여를 하다가 처음 올라와서 그 하고 싶은 말들이 많은데 먼저 여기 오거나이저들께서 그래도 하고 싶은 말을 해도 된다라고 말씀을 해주셔서 조금 얘기를 하겠습니다. 전통적으로 한국을 비롯해서 일본, 중국 같은 동아시아 경제 국가들이 새로운 시장이나 기회를 언급할 때 보면 주로 이제 제조업 중심적으로만 접근을 합니다. 예를 들어 제가 예전에 기후변화 업무를 할 때 보면 주로 LED라든지 뭐 그 각종 탄소 저감 기술, 그다음에 에너지 효율을 높이는 기술적 측면으로 많이 접근하는데요. 그때 그 영국에서 뭐라고 했나를 한번 보니까 영국은 기후변화 관련돼서 보험을 계속 만들고 있더라고요. 뭐 이 말씀을 드리는 이유는 이제 그 베런드께서 말씀하시는 이제 헬스케어라든지 그 농업협력을 말씀하셨지만 그 지금 현재 4차 산업혁명 시대라고 많이들 말씀을 하시잖아요. 4차 산업혁명 시대라는 게 보면은 그 여러 가지 산업이 서로 융합이 되는 시대라고 말씀을 드리고 싶은데요. 뭐 언급하신 부분에서는 헬스케어 같은 경우는 각종 보험 상품들하고 같이 연계가 돼서 시장을 만들어간다면 훨씬 더 많은 기회가 있을 것 같고, 그 다음에 그 농업 분야도 요즘 보면은 그 드론이라든지 그 ICT 기술하고 같이 융합이 돼서 하는 경우들이 많이 있습니다. 그런 부분을 하게 되면 더 많은 기회가 있을 거라고 생각이 됩니다. 다음으로는 그 오말리 회장께서 많이 기다리셨을 것 같은데요. 주로 금융 쪽을 많이 하셨었으니까 오말리 회장님께서 생각하시는 새로운 시장이라든지 유망한 분야에 대해서 말씀을 해주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Sure. Expert's a big word. Maybe a few minutes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about what we do and how we approach investments, and we'll touch on your answer. We're a bunch of merchant bankers, principally based in New York. We have partners in Texas, DC, New York, London, Hong Kong, and in Australia. Myself, this is numerous times back to Korea. I used to live in Hong Kong for about 8 years, so I've been back here in about 3 or 4 years. It's fantastic to be back. What we like to try to do when we look at investments is we like to find a disruptive technology that's scalable. As the second vice minister said before, the world is increasingly global and you have to be a winner. So we like to focus on small or medium-sized enterprises where they have a particular niche of technology where it's scalable, high-margin business. Those are the things that we like to do. So for the last few years, we've invested in fintech, very disruptive technologies, SaaS models with 70% margin businesses. We've invested in ad tech up in Canada. We invested in a sulfur processing facility. One of the main byproducts of a sulfur well and oil sands well is sulfur. And it's pretty amazing when you can invest in a technology that its main product is a byproduct of someone else. So someone else pays us to take what they consider waste and we turn it into a profit. So we like those types of scenarios. We've invested in a couple of coal projects. Coal's a dirty word in many respects the last few years around the world, so clean coal technologies we've invested in. Also, clean technologies utilization of electricity functions, mostly in the homes. So there's a fantastic company in Austin, Texas, we invested in a few years ago that does that. It's granular energy monitoring. If you think about it, energy is one of the last products that you buy, utilities, last product that you buy that doesn't have a bill that you get that's line items, right? You go to a restaurant, it tells you you bought steak, you bought chicken, it tells you the price of each. You go to the gas pump, you put in X amount of liters, it tells you the price per liter. You don't do that with utilities. You're a price taker. You're told your bill is $400 this month. So we thought it was an interesting technology that gets granular energy data from the home, and then you can manage how you deal with your electrical usage, and then it also has a demand response that on the off-peak you can send power back to the grid and make money. So we think that's a great model as well. So those are the kind of things that we've invested in. We've invested in graphene technology in the last few years, in a mine up in Sweden and a mine in Sri Lanka. Very promising, as we discussed in the green room beforehand. It's a long way to go yet in graphene, but we think the technology could be quite disruptive. So we've invested in a few small caps involved in graphene. graphene technology. And we see, we're really agnostic as to product and to region. It's really, what is the level of disruption? Is there a project champion in that region who has an undiscovered technology, for whatever the reason may be, and can it globalize? So we're investing in a metallic 3D printing company in Australia. It came across our desk because one of the things that we do as our go-to-market strategy, as it were, is we only deal with friends or friends of friends. And this came to us, and this fellow has been tinkering basically in his basement for years, and we met with him, we spent a lot of time with him, and said, wow, he absolutely has a disruptive technology. So we're going to give him some money, and then we're going to help him grow his business globally. So that's what we try to do, is look at those types of things. And so we're very, very interested to meet those types of entrepreneurs, technologists here in Korea, and then we can bring our global relationships to partners here and grow something globally in a disruptive business with very high margins.
말씀 감사합니다. 특히 확장 가능한 파괴적 기술에 관심이 많으시다는 매우 인상적이었고요. 그리고 오랜 시간 기다리신 압두라지즈 씨께서 새로운 시간과 분야에 대해서 말씀을 해주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rizwan from Malaysia. I'm the president of the FinTech Association of Malaysia. I'm also a businessman. I run a remittance company called World Remit. We are based in the UK. And I also have a media company, and I'm also an ecosystem builder focusing on FinTech. So the interesting part about Malaysia is there is an untapped market called the Islamic market, Islamic and ethical market. This is a unique place and a unique market segment because it doesn't really need a geographical location if you apply financial technology, if you use the concept of Islamic or ethical financing. And the beauty of this is it's not just about accessing Malaysia, but it also has capability of accessing the Islamic countries. There's a lot of potential because Malaysia is the #1 Islamic economy in the world. There's a huge potential in terms of applying technology. I, for example, have technologized a few Islamic contracts using commodities such as mobile airtime as well as plastic resin as a commodity to transact financial transaction. I will explain further in my afternoon session about Islamic economy and ethical financing because this is something that is untapped and there's a huge potential in ASEAN as well as the Organization of Islamic Countries that you can have access to. And Malaysia, like Thailand, are very cheap. We are very cost effective in terms of doing business. There's a lot of talent available in Malaysia, Thailand, and as ASEAN as a whole. ASEAN as a region, there's about 660 million potential customers. And the reason why I'm talking about Islamic and ethical financing is because this is mostly untapped as far as Korean market is concerned. So I would definitely welcome if any one of you is interested in terms of knowing further about this because this is not about the religion, but this is about a new way of doing business, a new way of doing investment, and there's a new different kind of approach. I hear just now your Vice Minister talked about winners take all. In Islamic finance and ethical finance, it's about enlarging the pie and creating value for everybody. So everybody will become a winner. There's not just one winner, but everybody can become a winner. And I like what Peter is doing because he's also creating values for a lot of other stakeholders. So it's a different mindset, a different business model, and a different approach in terms of creating value for the future, creating value for new market, and creating value for new market segmentation. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
예, 말씀 감사합니다. 사실 그 새로운 시장에서 갖는 기회가 한 번으로 끝나는 거래가 아니고 지속적인 관계를 가질 때는 앞주라드님께서 말씀하신 것처럼 거래에 참여하는 모든 참여자들이 이익을 얻을 수 있어야 된다는 메시지를 말씀해 주신 걸로 생각을 하고요. 그리고 말레이시아와 이슬람 시장에 대한 매력에 대해서 소개해 주셔서 감사합니다. 그것도 지금 여기 와주신 많은 청중들께서 이제 기업 쪽에서 많이들 와주셨을 거라고 생각을 하는데, 사실 기업 입장에서는 새로운 시장의 진출 필요성에 대해서 많이들 공감을 하고 있지만, 막상 진출하려고 하는 의사결정을 할 때는 많은 장벽들의 직면을 하고 있을 거라고 생각을 합니다. 지금 남은 시간이 한 4분 조금 안 되는데, 혹시 기업들 입장에서 직면하게 될 허들이나 그걸 어떻게 해결했으면 하는지 대안에 대해서 말씀을 해주시겠습니까?
Can we have 30 seconds each?
For the private sector, for the detail, we cannot wrap up in 1 minute, but we have a huge potential sector in the fintech or financial technology that I will have the afternoon session. I will tell you about the ecosystem of fintech association and why we use only 1.5 years to make Bangkok to be one of the new hub of the world of fintech already. I will show you the overall and how we make it happen like a miracle, and maybe we can learn together and make collaboration in the future. So let's listen in the afternoon session. Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
I would say one thing that we caution/advise our friends is choose your partners wisely, because we all like to have a situation where the rising tide lifts all boats, but as the second vice minister says, it is a winner-take-all mentality. So when you're dealing with smaller companies who are maybe undercapitalized and they have a distinguishing technology that's scalable, someone's going to try and steal it. So pick your customers and your friends very, very wisely. And to us, that comes down to really structural alignment. We work with our investee companies. We put our own capital in, we diligence things ourselves, and then we invite friends in. And we only invest if we can help them going forward. If we can't help them and we're just investors, we don't invest. So we make sure that we're completely aligned with the technologist or the entrepreneur. And part of our job is to make sure that someone doesn't take advantage of it on the global stage, given our networks and folks that we know. But it's to tread lightly, dream big, tread lightly, pick your partners wisely.
For me, it's all about who are you comfortable with when you are dealing with a new potential partner, as well as having that alignment in your thoughts and ideas. Because if you're not aligned, if you have different goals, I think it will not be well in terms of how you want to grow further. So just an example, fintech is actually one of the platforms or ecosystem that you can always venture into, because most of the participants in fintech are new. Everybody starts from almost the same level in terms of understanding, and this is where I think it will be beneficial, whether to big companies or small companies, to get into new markets and new segments. And the one last thing is, because financial technology doesn't really need you to be geographically located yourself in a new place. So this is also giving you an advantage in terms of doing business globally without having to spend too much on your capital expenditure. I'll stop.
Okay, I think you mentioned about the importance of the friendly environment for businesses. And governments have a great role to play in this process. And talking about Georgia, I think a couple of facts are interesting. Georgia is number 6 in the world's World Bank's Doing Business Index, which makes it number 2 in Europe. Index of Economic Freedom that our friend Anthony Kim is editor for. Georgia is ranked 16th and number 8 in Europe. And there are several other indexes that Georgia ranks very high in terms of freedom of entrepreneurship and support of the policies to open operations for businesses that allows country to then deal easy access to markets, easy access to permits, regulations, and so forth. I think these are very important elements for Korean companies considering markets for their investments.
지금 시간이 약간 오버됐는데요. 지금 토론자분들께서 말씀해 주신 사항에 대해서 새로운 시장을 진출할 때 가장 중요한 게 파트너십에 대한 부분들을 많이 좀 말씀을 하셨고요. 사실 제가 기업들을 만나봤을 때 해외 시장 진출에서 가장 처음에 주저하는 부분들을 보면은 올바른 파트너를 구하는 부분인 것 같아요. 그 부분에 보통 보면은 시장에 대한 정보를 몰라서 그러다 보면은 위험에 대한 평가도 커지는 경향들이 있고요. 이에 따라서 제가 몸담고 있는 한국 정부에서도 이 기업들이 가지고 있는 불안 요인들을 제거해 나가는 게 역할이라고 생각합니다. 들어주신 청중 여러분 감사드리고요. 토론자 분들